Happy Saturday, y'all. We have some great news coming from the lawmakers who are actually already moving ahead with passing not less than 12 a dozen bills that are going to address the whole situation with AMC and GameStop and way other aspects of how unfixed, how damaged is the stock exchange in the US market. So jumping into this, guys, when you go to the US committee, so last week we had news around the Democrats the US House throughout the Financial Services Committee willing to pass as quick as possible new laws, not rules, new laws that are gonna fix, and target market makers like Citadel, Virtue, but also looking at exactly fixing what is the issue with payment for order flow, which I believe it's one of the biggest problems we are seeing with the AMC situation, with the GameStop situation, but also that we are experiencing all across the board when it comes to different stocks. All right. So jumping into this, guys, this is as of yesterday, the House Financial Services Committee passed 11 bills to protect investors and reduce conflicts of interest born out of payment for order flow, support manufactured housing communities, and fight for everyone's rights to vote, blah, 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 blah. Now, we want to focus here on the conflicts of interest on payment for order flow. This is one of the biggest issue, according to my personal opinion, when it comes to AMC and GameStop. But again, this is not solely happening in these two specific stocks, okay? So we have a bunch of votes, a bunch of blocks, but we want to focus on this one. The following bills passed the committee on block second, okay? First of all, we have the Short Sale Transparency and Market Fairness Act. This might not be as big as payment for order flow, bad and limiting, but it still has its place, okay? It still has its own weight, because this is kind of saying, hey, instead of never having to disclose your short positions, now you have to disclose all the positions, all types, long shorts and shorts, but also in a more frequent manner, okay? So this gives more transparency. This gives more market fairness, because if some other investors who are going against short sellers, which like apes thought back in January that AMC and GameStop were not worth being so much shorted, okay? And not only that, it gives exactly to everybody in the market, whether you're long, whether you're short, exactly who is doing what. Like they see exactly what we're doing, buying and holding. We also should be able to see what they are shorting, and that will pretty much inhibit, okay, and prevent situations like naked shorting and synthetics. Because if everybody knows what everybody else is doing, there is no way in the hell that you will be putting so much synthetics and naked in the market without anybody noticing. So that's big, but not even the biggest. Now, the biggest thing, guys, of course, you can also have, amending, the SEC Act of 1934 to prohibit trading ahead of by market makers, which pretty much is insider trading. And word on the street, not from the apes, but from the street, is maybe Citadel and Robinhood may be involved in some of these practices, which again are illegal, fraud, and prohibited. Now, jumping into this one, guys, this is the biggest one. Order Flow Improvement Act. This is the biggest one, guys, because this bill directs the SEC to study and consider banning or limiting the payment for order flow in the form of exchange rebates or payment from market centers to broker-dealers. This is precisely, according to my personal opinion, what is the main issue with AMC and GameStop, because we are sending our orders and they are being redirected into dark pools. They never see the actual exchange where the supply and the demand may or should, calculate and transpire, okay, and reflect the actual real price of any security based, again, on how many people are buying, holding, and how many people are selling, which is not the case here. So remember, this is banned in Australia. This is prohibited and forbidden in Canada and in the UK. And those are the biggest exchanges besides the US. So I wonder why it's not the case here in the US, okay? Now, I know billionaire who created Interactive Brokers came the other day on, on media and said to Yahoo Finance that he doesn't think it's gonna be a good move from the SEC because this has been going on for 200 years. Now, maybe so, but also on the flip side, there is a start for everything. And never in the history of the markets you had retail investors coming together and exposing what has been going on and what is wrong with the market so far. So again, this is a big one, guys, because if this pass, and there are strong chances that this will pass, we have a real shot at having finally something that will push or force the short sellers to be out. Not only because we are buying and holding, but because they are in the wrong side of the equation on this time around. Okay, so again, this is just a process. It's not going to happen overnight, because when you jump on here, this was introduced on July 22nd. It's been passed now on July 28th on the House Committee of Financial Services. It still has to go through these steps: pass the committee, pass the House, pass the Senate, and then signed by the president in order to become law, which at this point, it's a law, man. It's been signed. Now, another reason why I think we have a good shot at this passing is because I mentioned multiple times back, a few months ago on my channel that, hey, what the hedges are doing on AMC and GameStop, it's not only affecting the apes on these two stocks, buying and holding these two stocks. This is happening across the market when it comes to retail investors on 401ks, pension funds, 529 accounts, IRAs, etc., etc. And I bet that someone was pissed off, which is the word on the street now, was pissed off and said, hey, SEC, lawmakers, you have to do something because this has to stop. And this is precisely what we're seeing now. Again, there's going to be a pushback because, I'm not expecting the hedges to fold that easily, but it seems like a shift has been happening. A shift is is about to happen. I want to say it's about to happen, and definitely this time around, apes, retail investors being on the right side of the equation, on the right side of the storm that to be happen, definitely it's a big catalyst for AMC to come. So just have to be patient, because I believe patience is the only way to get out of this thing and move on.